Well, today we're going to talk about family offices for business owners and how to design that wealth with purpose. And the reason we're going to go through this is business owners are entering a phase where there's a lot of success that's creating complexity, and that complexity creates risk if it's unmanaged. And so, what we're finding is that in many cases, there are multiple advisors, there's a lot of big decisions being made, but there's not necessarily one person that's accountable for alignment. So we want to take a look at when does a family office make sense, what types of planning is involved with that, and how Forte Impact approaches it differently. And we're also going to touch on some of the other things as far as, what are the dynamics that families go through at these stages. Oftentimes there can be a lot of decision fatigue, there can be some anxiety, and some tension and some sense of overwhelm as well. And as we see, some folks are already looking at the pieces of a family office that may already exist, but they're not sure exactly how to coordinate them. In the same way, it's kind of like conducting a symphony. It's like having that one amazing instrumentalist that's there, but the rest of the band doesn't know where they're going. So we take a look at that and say, how does it all come out in a coordinated, conducted manner? So when we take a look at that, we want to first look at when do business owners need a family office structure? And what we find there is that a family office oftentimes become necessary when, we start to have decisions in one area of our life, starting to create those unintended consequences and ripple effects in another part of our life. Some cases we see that where there may be a tax decision that's affecting the company's liquidity or personal liquidity. We might find that there's an investment decision that may conflict with estate or family value goals. We may also find that there's a business exit that's misaligned with the timing of family readiness. Is it something where the next generation has not been ready to step into that space? They don't have the education or the age to be able to step into that arena. Or is it just also not even having a roadmap aligned to say, what are you going to do next? Part of the reason we take a look at that is we see that 75% of business owners, once they have their exit, go through a period of loss and sometimes a bit of a grieving process within that first year of exiting the business because there was not a roadmap to say, well, what's next? So when we look at that, we really want to identify, what is going to be successful? What does that great look like for you and your family and the business? Because it's not about how much money you have, it's whether your business is going to be integrated well with your financial and your family decisions. And part of what we see there is some of the warning signs that can exist during this time frame is there may be a plethora of advisors that are giving good advice, but the advice is conflicting. I know we've chatted about it in some of our prior conversations where we've seen that, just a dozen times in probably the last 4 or 5 months, I've seen a great advisor in this lane, a great advisor in this lane, and they're actually canceling out each other's advice because they're working in silos and not in an integrated fashion. So we see that playing out. But we also may see that family members may be unclear on expectations, depending on generational and family and cultural differences. Some families may feel unclear declaring who's next and in what roles. And that can be just a quick surprise for a lot of folks who may not have had that time to transition and get ready for that. So we oftentimes see that if family members are going to be taking on bigger roles, there may be as much as a 3 to 5 year road way ahead of them where they're going to need to know how what's going to be expected of them and how they can get ready for that. We also may see that the founder may be acting as the default coordinator. And if you think about it, this can be especially challenging because in the same way as your business gets busy, you have the need for all those folks that are around you as adjuncts that can help. And you have the COO, the CFO, you have administrative assistants, but now oftentimes the founder in many cases is serving as that person triangulating it all. And they already have a very busy schedule and can't necessarily see all the implications of what those downstream decisions may be. So what we find there is the longer that this goes uncoordinated, the more expensive it gets. It's a financial drain and it's an emotional drain. And so we want to alleviate that through proper planning. Because what we find there is the things that typically break first are going to be, first of all, usually the family dynamics. It puts things under a lot of strain, but it also can put the business under a tremendous amount of strain as well. So we're going to touch on in our next sections some of the other ways that we can solve for that.